This time around, SKT will be starting on the blue side. We got Nar and Vladimir banned away. Two top champions already taken off the board.
The Vladimir flex pick being seen a bit more, so Phoenix running wild with that on Echo Fox over in the NALCS. See where the Gangplank is going to be, because Gangplank's still super powered on this patch. No Gangplank nerfs yet on patch 8.3. Rise still going to be respected because I feel like the nerf was very severe in solo queue and certainly will have an impact in competitive play, but Rise's flexibility with his global provides so much utility. Strong pick for Faker, but a strong pick for Edge as well. It's going to be banned away, and the Ezreal you mentioned so far is left available. That could just be a first pick for SK Telecom T1.
It's looking like it, especially with Kongdoo down to its last ban. They're going to take away Kha'Zix from Blossom here.
But what about the Galio? Because Galio allows Blossom to be super aggressive and Faker to react. So that was the question I had is, will the Galio priority be as high as it was on patch 8.2? They're just going to go for more the head-to-head. They're actually going to take the Ezreal away from Soul, but Galio's still very powerful on this patch. Let's see if Kongdoo Monster want to pick it up.
Yeah, they definitely have that option. They're going to go for the Ornn, even after the slight nerfs it did get. Still a very strong champion. Yujun thinking about the Sejuani here. Definitely one of the very high-tier, god-tier picks that was not taken out in the ban phase, and he does lock it in.
Sejuani makes sense. To me, the Ornn is a big reach, and it's a worrying one, because you look at Roach. In 18 games, played 10 games of Gnar, was first banned on blue side by SKT. His second most played is Ornn. Ornn has really fallen down the tier list because of the big nerf. It feels like he's more of a support, if anything now. So if this is just an emergency, let's make sure Roach has access to a champion. It's a bad sign already for Kongdoo Monster. I mentioned the Galio. Clearly Kongdoo not feeling confident enough to draft it, even though they're 1-0 with the Galio, and the knockup party's back.
We're back. I mean, they get one of the best 80 carries for Bang, and they get a very comfortable Braum pick. It's so nice for SKT so far.
And you also look at the Varus, and you're like, oh boy, you're going to have some fun engage to have to deal with. But of course, for laning phase, the power is there. Outside of laning phase, if you fall 5,000 gold behind and Galio closes the distance, oh boy, Varus going to have a bit of a struggle, but they're trying to find comfort. You just already look at SKT and a lot of power assembled on the blue side. Not often will we see Galio and Ezreal taken in Korea with just the power of those picks. And because no mid laner was taken, as usual Kongdoo Monster, they kind of always fall back on Soul as their big carry. They take the Varus to ensure his laning phase, but that does mean that Azir and Corki could easily be double banned, and then we can start getting into the dregs of the champion pool when it comes to playing into a Galio.
You'll notice that Kongdoo Monster is targeting out Blossom here. So far we've seen Jarvan, Jax, Sejuani, and Kha'Zix, and the only one that remains so far is Jax, which he's only played one time. Another pick that's left available is the Zac. Another one if you're going for this big knockup party. Definitely an option here for Blossom.
I think both teams are partying when it comes to team fights so far. We'll see if SKT want to move away or if we're going to get some kidnapping going. The Zac would be an interesting option, but would be the first time, like you mentioned. Jax would be a bit more strategy in the options. Jax can actually play a side lane as a jungler, which not many junglers actually have a kit that allows them to do that. But we're going full knockup party. We go for the Zac here, the bouncy castle. It's back. Oh boy, Kongdoo Monster were the ones to bring it out the first time. We're definitely going for extreme engage from SKT. This has been the way with Blossom, has been let's all follow him in one by one and engage. And, well, a lot of Sion I mentioned in the pregame. I think Sion will be close to pick ban status in Korea, and we already see Tal bringing it out.
Well, 8.3 kind of looking exactly what we expected it to be here, Papa. The question now is, what does Kongdoo Monster put in the mid lane? I hope they're not thinking about something like Taliyah, because another carry that would not have an escape would not be very fantastic for Kongdoo Monster.
My question is, how do you get damage onto the Ezreal? Because he has 4 tanks in front of him. Here's an old pick into the Galio, the Lucian for a farm lane. You gotta say, this is about as much beef as you could ever have short of an Alistar in a game. Look at this side of SKT. Sion, Zac, Galio, and Braum will be insanely tanky. It is, however, a return to pretty low damage, Valdez. We'll probably see full AP from Faker, so he will do some decent burst. But otherwise, Bang is kind of the only damage here. So while it's a very impressive amount of initiation and tankiness, SKT has struggled with these drafts, largely with Sivir, you'll remember, earlier in the season. So if Kongdoo Monster have one lane they want to target. If you set Ezreal behind, if you can find a way to rotate through the Ezreal, which of course very difficult with how safe he is, there is damage concerns from SKT. However, the damage concerns don't matter if the game is decided pre-25 minutes. SKT have been very aggressive recently, and you look at the draft and say, SKT, they need to start bouncing in and doing a lot of knockup parties early. Otherwise, there is damage concerns in the late game.
Blossom, for me, definitely one of these new guys coming on in as a rookie who has impressed me with just his solo queue style, but it's kind of a aggressive, I don't care really about what you're going to do. He's right in your face the entire game, and Zach is another one of these picks that's going to allow him to do just that and to allow his entire team to follow him up. So I'm excited to see him on a new pick and another one that can get right into the backline with that Zach.
Meanwhile, for Kongdoo Monster, they're aware of the initiation. If the Cosmic Radiance is on point, they have options, but they need to get items onto the Lucian to have him actually to be a threat, because if you don't have that armor penetration, how are you ever going to do damage to the front line of SKT? We're getting a bit of an update here, guys. Sounds like we're not going to be ready to go straight into the game. That's why we see Tal looking a bit nonplussed in the booth, so a bit more time to talk about the comps and where things lie, but there were some issues over in the LCS on patch 8.3, so hopefully the hiccups will be resolved very soon.
Yeah, we've heard some stuff. You know, as we were saying before, Swain is allowed to be played, but still a bit buggy. Probably won't be seeing it anyway. And
I'd be worried if Swain was impacting this game, given that he's not in it.
Yeah.
You never know, though.
How about some Swain support? Let's see a little bit of that.
No.
He's got a lot of pullbacks, you know, some CC. And in team fights, you can pop your ultimate and be entirely useless. Just sit in front of everybody and never die.
We do have a sold-out stadium here for SKT Kongdoo Monster. I'm going to go and say it's probably about 85% SK Telecom T1, and we got the good news, Valdez.
The game is ready to start, guys. So 4 hours sold-out audience. Let's begin game number 1 of SKT versus Kongdoo Monster. Kongdoo Monster, even though they've lost 8 games in a row, their fans remain by their side, just like SKT when they were going through their slump.
Just like MVP as well. I really am always consistently impressed by these long-suffering fans. You know, MVP fans had Spring of last year, but otherwise have largely struggled. Kongdoo Monster fans have really never had anything to cheer about at the LCK level, so love to see the fandom there. Got some new stuff, we got some old stuff, we got a lot of tanks on the side of SK Telecom T1, and you were mentioning Blossom. I think a lot of people have kind of had their imagination captured by Blossom coming into the lineup, relentless aggression. To me, he's kind of been like a fountain of youth to the SKT lineup, because if you go back and watch the VOD of the match against KSV, the amount of just sheer aggression you saw out of SKT there, you think back, and aggression was never really a word you used to describe SKT's early to mid game. They were always mid to late game masters, and I actually think the last time I saw an SKT lineup just that aggressive was 2013, you know, when they were just all rookies themselves coming in as a lineup with Mandu and everybody else. So seeing how aggressive they were without Blossom, if this was blank on Zach, I'd be right there and saying, I don't know what the damage is. Tal's looking for a lane gank.
What is this?
Level 1 gank.
Sion in the bottom side, he misses the Q. It actually, the Taric went behind him. And it didn't hit the Taric, so
it's an old strategy that you have Sion at level 1, just gank bot lane. You can always teleport to the top lane and not miss much. Going for the gimmicky level 1. If you see Sion's support, they'll do the same thing. Start decimating smash and look for an engage. He just missed the decimating smash. So
yeah,
some kinks to work out on the Sion.
It's definitely a new pick here for a bunch of these top laners in LCK.
Not for MVP.
Not for, that's what I was going to say. Only ADD really was the guy who was playing it consistently. We saw Max even playing it in the support role, but we will be seeing more of it here.
And I just hope we're seeing more of this aggression I'm alluding to. More of this aggression with Blossom, more of this new SKT. Now with Zach, you always expect them to take both the blue buff and the Gromp at the same time, just because of how the Q works and the fact that you can farm both camps. That also makes you pretty predictable, and it's a nice counter jungle by Yujun. The Sion is going to be pushed in because he got to lane late, and the Zach was going for a greedy clear. So good timing for Yujun to invade, but for now at least, just delaying the Zac.
And you could do very nice things here.
Smite War is going to come out.
Yeah. With the Sejuani passive, if she can stack that up, definitely has the ability to take this away. But is going to go aggressive here onto Blossom, who's just trying to get this blue, but the smite, it goes to Yujun. Blossom, no blue, and lacking some health in there. Yujun is going to win that jungle war.
It's actually really well done by Kongdoo Monster. And Yujun in particular, when he played his first game on Lee Sin, seemed lost on how to path at the highest level, you know, in the LCK and competitive play. But in this game, this pathing decision when they saw the Sion bot side to go for the invade on the predictable Zac taking 2 camps, the blue and the Gromp at the same time, was next level. So good to see that from a young jungler still trying to find his footing on his 4th professional game at LCK level. Will actually delay things for Blossom in particular.
Yeah, especially with a guy like Blossom who loves to get aggressive. If you can beat him to the punch and just take that part of his game away, might make SKT a little bit more just passive in general. We're going to take a look here at some stats down at the bottom.
Surprise.
Of course, yeah, SKT 4-0. Makes sense. This was only in spring because Kongdoo was not in summer. Says a lot about this matchup in the past.
And my favorite stat is that between the 2 junglers, we have 11 professional games ever.
Huh.
Compared to if Wolf was, Wolf alone has 580 odd games.
Yeah.
So it lets you know that definitely have the rookie status going on in the jungle. So we could see some fiestas and some interesting decisions being made. We already saw Blossom the first time out, going for his EQ and getting ulted into the turret, but they've been winning with Blossom. They've been looking better with Blossom. Early game here, though, he's not on the Kha'Zix Rengar. That's his ultra comfort. When you're on the Zac, being invaded on is a lot more predictable.
Mm. We're taking a look at that mid lane, and Edge will have a big responsibility on his shoulders. He needs to be one of the main carries here. Varus, we have a little bit of a gank here. He's going to be pulled back into the knock-up stun, but Cleanse and the flash. It's so close, but Edge does get away with just a sliver of health. As I was saying, SKT probably thinking the same thing. Lucian going to have a huge farming lane and tons of time, even with the Cull start. He's going to be the big carry here for Kongdoo.
I don't know what it is about Zac, but I think back to when Peanut did not play Cinderhawk junglers, jumped on Zac, got invaded, and was still ganking regularly on a champion that many players would just go farm mode on. I love seeing these aggressive players move to Zac in particular because they look at the engage range of the Elastic Slingshot, and even from behind, they'll look for the moves. We mentioned already that SKT's power is pretty front-loaded to early to mid-game because they will eventually run out of damage. So need to see that progressive, that proactive moves aggressively in the jungle, even from behind. So it's good to see there from Blossom as we get the keystones and notice that while in Korean solo queue, as Tal's just ult into lane, by the way.
Yeah.
But in Korean solo queue, we often see Glacial Augment on the Sion as a rush, as a main rune, just for extra CC. So he has this comical amount of CC. Comet was always the lane control choice, also the support Sion choice. And it is going to be lane control chosen by Tal, going for the Comet. Basically, you hit Roar of the Slayer, the slow guarantees the Comet hitting, and you get a lot of lane control. Kind of the same situation as Camille when it comes to the W and her Comet taking.
You'll notice the way that Edge has to play in mid lane because of what happened earlier. You don't have Cleanse or Flash, and Faker still has his Flash against a Zac who's going to be level 6. The next time he comes to your lane, he has to show so much more respect. And even just letting Faker push, whereas before, when he had all his summoners, he was in there getting in the face of Faker, trying to push him out of lane. That's not really the way it's going to go anymore. And you even notice Yujun sticking nearby mid lane to help him out a little bit. Some
light slinger buffs here. Only going to be relevant when crit comes in realistically, but it's a little bit more total AD in early levels, makes his laning phase stronger. You will notice, though, Valdez, that all 3 lanes from SKT were pushing in, so there's already deep vision down from SKT. Kongdoo Monster are playing the scaling game. They make the same read that we do and say, let's get the Cull cashed in on the Lucian. Let's get Varus to his first item that we know, of course, will be the Rage Bait and takes time. All the early purchases and all the early skirmishes are better for SKT when there's more than one member involved. Whenever it's 2v2 or 3v3 or outnumbered because they have the ultimate there from the Galio, they're going to be trading up. So for SKT, they're all about the early skirmishing, but for Kongdoo, if they can get the vision down and largely just farm, they're going to be happy with how the early game is playing out.
Eugene just hitting level 6 here. After taking his red, he'll be a huge ganking threat. Let's see where he decides to go. He's still hanging around that mid lane and was spotted by Tal, who came down, so shouldn't have too much action as everybody's kind of checking their bases, making sure they know where everybody is in the game.
Eugene can't really visit his furthest camps away from mid lane because his mid laner has sums down and there's so much wombo engage that he has to be there for a counter gank. So for right now, Gromp and also his Krugs are kind of unattainable. He'd love to clear them and get the gold, but his job is to play through mid. That's why we saw Secret back and just put down a control ward, tried to find some sort of safety for Edge, who was up in CS like you mentioned early, but now with Summoners down, has to play that defensive style. SKT want to continue on the front foot, continue to push, continue to clear. Tal pushing in EW, the common max we see here, Roar of the Slayer into the Soul Furnace. I remember all the Scion names because they're all really funny, so.
Yeah.
I'm also a Scion one trick, as you can tell from my solo queue Valdez.
Yeah, you were telling me how you just have one pick
He's
in every lane right now.
Freelo top laner, guys. Comet Scion, get in there. He actually has the highest win rate for champions played over 1% of total games in the game right now. Top Scion.
It's pretty ridiculous. I just know that whenever I have a top laner in my lane, or in my game on my team, they always lose to the Scion, so kind of had that in the back of my mind where people don't really know what to do against all that CC and even the nice little poke he's got with the Arcane Comet.
I mean, Arcane Comet, when you hit level 9, you're doing about 330 damage with the Roar of the Slayer and a Comet proc, so it's not ignorable damage. Pretty ignorable for an Ornn, but in a lot of the carry matchups, I feel like in solo queue is even better because everyone's playing Riven Fiora, so you're just able to not die in lane. He even does decently well against Gnar. I know NALCS might have not told you that, as we saw a lot of Scion in the NALCS this week against Gnar, and it wasn't doing fantastically. We see it here against the Ornn. It's very safe. It pushes. It has lane priority, and it's a tank that you can lane, which, given that Gnar kind of beats every tank and Fiora beats most tanks, there aren't many of those around, so that's why the Scions become attractive. It's a tank in the top lane you can get away with.
Yeah. ADD knew it before anyone else.
He did. He was our Savant. He's the Genja of Korea for sure. Genja was bringing everything out in the AD carry, but our top lane Savant is ADD.
We'll see what else he brings in. Maybe he'll play some top Swain and make everybody know about that
He does
pick.
feel like a top Swain player,
I feel like he would definitely be the guy to do it. Nobody else.
I heard Smeb said it wasn't bad, so
we got some action here. Soul going to be hopped upon. The kidnap will miss as the Cosmic Radiance comes in, but here comes Sejuani about to turn into a 3-on-3. Blossom's caught up a bit here. In comes Eugene, the flash coming out from Blossom. They're going on to Bang here, who's not able to get out there, but now does do the arcane shift after the flash. Now it's up to Wolf, who has all of his summoners down. That's going to be first blood. Goes over to the Taric of all people, but finally, Kongdoo Monster able to capitalize.
And that, of course, is the cost of bringing in a player who's known for the carries. When he missed the kidnap, they needed to disengage, but Blossom was still there, thinking that Faker would rotate. On the minimap, as I was watching, Edge was just free damaging him in his face, so he didn't feel like he had the space to actually look for the move. No interrupt, of course, for Edge, but no real ability for Faker to guarantee the right engage. So if you watch the replay, the start of this is great. We cut off my color point because it looks like Blossom might make something happen, but it's double summoners up, ult up Kongdoo Monster. He misses. They need to fully disengage at this point, but they're not disengaging. The first Q hits from Blossom. When he knocks heads in, notice that Galio was tete-a-tete with the Lucian, wasn't able to rotate in that case, and doesn't want to ult now because he might just die 4v1 if Wolf goes down. So there's no ultimate from Faker. It's to kill over to the side of Kongdoo Monster. Bit of a communication issue there between the mid laner and the the mid laner and the jungler, I would say, does actually pull SKT a little bit behind their opponents in Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, it's just one kill down in the bottom lane after all, and it was Taric who did pick it up, but definitely could be a sign of things to come here in the future of this game and the series for SKT.
The Rod of Ages, sign of things to come from Faker. Like I mentioned in Champ Select, you can index very heavily in AP now with Galio, who, since the rework, has always prioritized more AP. The question was always how much. We saw a lot of Abyssal Mask into Liandry's into full tank. This is definitely going to be a full AP game. They need Faker to do damage rather than to be a fourth unkillable frontliner, and he'll do a decent impersonation of an unkillable frontliner whenever his W is up. The things are not over for SKT, but we mentioned that a lot of their power is front-loaded early to mid-game. Let's see if they can actually continue to play on the front foot. They cannot afford to kind of lick their wounds after failing for first blood and then just play passively. They need to keep on with the aggression, and we'll see if SKT can do that with this youthful lineup.
Yeah. Seems like they were thinking about it, coming in and stealing the Raptors once again. They still have that control ward, by the way, that spots every single time Yujun does the red buff. So fantastic amount of vision given to SKT with just that one control ward. Definitely recommend that. I've seen even junglers on the Korean solo queue start with, instead of the refillable, they go for just one potion and a ward, control ward, and they put it down right there, and they know exactly what's going on because nobody really checks for that location. Definitely a very tricky one.
Yeah, Nunes, of course, and other people that can get away with less regen at the start can easily index into a control ward at level 1. Yujun going to start up the Rift Herald. Feels like every objective SKT should have been favored for in the early game, but a lot of that normalcy kind of subsided after losing that early trade. So any objective Kongdoo Monster picks up pre-20 minutes kind of comes across as a bonus for how strong the early game comp is from SKT. And Wolf's also out of position.
He's all alone, but he's got Faker coming in here. They're going to get the knock on a Soul who doesn't have his flash available. Wolf getting low at the same time. Cosmic Radiance almost gets the kill onto Wolf, but in the end, it's only Soul who goes down. Yujun not in position there, was actually doing the Rift Herald. He's going to pick up that objective for just one kill.
People allowing themselves to get pretty baited in this game. First it was Blossom down bot lane, then it was the duo lane of Kongdoo Monster. There wasn't a flash up on Soul, and it seems so academic that we would see the hero's entrance come through from the Galio. Do see Edge protecting the jungle camps of Yujun.
We don't really want to see this top lane.
Nope.
Thank you.
We want to see this turret HP. It's going low.
Bang's getting in there. He's pushed away for now, and even Edge coming down into the bot lane. Funny little position for him. You'll notice that Blossom hanging nearby the bottom lane as Soul still doesn't have his flash. He's getting closer now, but you notice that AD carry's not really taking Unsealed Spellbook anymore, but here we go. Blossom coming in, still no flash available. It's about to come off, but they are going to knock a couple heads together. That should be it with the Kidnap coming in. Another kill, this time given over to Blossom. That might even secure that first blood turret.
And that should be an illustration of why any objectives Kongdoo Monster picked up in the early game should be a bonus, because there's so much wombo long-range engage that you're never safe in the bot lane when your summoners are down, when your Cosmic Radiance is down. It's all on SKT to ramp up the pace. Consider the pace ramped up, Valdez.
That it is. I mean, even Blossom, after getting the kill, he's going in and pressuring Yujun in the jungle, forcing Secret back. Seems like he's finally got back into his elements now, Papa.
And it's just awesome that SKT can run a comp that 2 weeks ago you would cringe about, because you'd be like, okay, well, they've already shown that with one damage threat, they can't actually get the synergy going. They're not aggressive enough in the early game. They'll just get outscaled. But you insert Blossom, you insert this new mindset, the fountain of youth that Blossom has been, to bring them back to 2013 aggression. And then suddenly, Wolf getting caught is a cascading effect that brings so much to the side of SKT. I don't know if this was a true bait, but it certainly turned into a masterful one. Turning on to Soul, Cosmic Radiance, eventually taken down, but the return gank with the control ward they already had, the turret dive, is where they blew open the game. And then for Kongdoo Monster, the only thing they've gotten recently is the Rift Herald, and we haven't seen it summoned just yet.
That one thing that I noticed is that the ward timers for both of the wards that he was standing on was the same. Missed ultimate here, not able to engage at all from Kongdoo Monster. But you were talking about the bait earlier. If he saw the ward go down from Kongdoo Monster, definitely could have been a well thought out plan from Wolf. But
definitely when it comes to these veteran status players, you give them the benefit of the doubt whenever you can. So nice little play there, and it's opened up, 2,000 gold lead out of nowhere. They were losing the game. Not by any magnificent amount, but certainly by a small one. Speaking of small changes, the Q nerf here, very severe early levels. And since you max the Arctic Assault last, it does mean you have a little bit less mobility on the Sejuani. Rift Herald top side.
Just gonna knock that down here, but SKT has so much pressure in mid. Look at this again. Finally, the sums are up, but let's see if they can still lock down a kill.
It's a
gonna
party.
Go on to Secret here, who is getting a bit low. Cosmic Radiance coming in. Looks like they should be able to pop this passive onto Blossom, though, who does have his passive thereby procced, and they should be able to take him out here. No TP coming in, none available. Not that they should have committed to that. He wouldn't have been able to get out, so going a little bit deep, and Blossom does go down.
You will see this from time to time. They're still going aggressively, though.
Trying to...
They really want this turret. Chunking someone out would have represented the turret going down almost. The steal coming through from Bang, one of the best at pulling that off. SKT trying to take the mid lane turret. Do note that in all of this, the Rift Herald was wasted topside. It did not actually take down the turret. Sion, predictably, having wave clear for days with 4 AoE abilities. Means that he's just fine. But SKT going to continue around the mid side. Again, with Blossom, you have to take the good with the bad. He's always going to go in. Sometimes his team thinks better of it, doesn't fully capitalize on it that time. But overall, an upgrade for SKT.
Yeah, it's surely definitely a play you would consider with a composition like this, especially with just the bottom lane in the mid lane trying to defend the very low turret.
But given that everyone else had ults to help him out and didn't use it, you could say that communication probably not 100% in sync between him and the rest of the team.
And you'll have to mention as well that Sol did not burn his flash in the engage. He trusted in the Cosmic Radiance, got out alive, so we'll have that available. It's one of the biggest things here for the Varus that has no other escape outside of the Taric ultimate and his own flash.
Because Bang does not have Blade the Ruin King coming till later. Notice that he is going higher damage here. He had to slow down his build with a QSS, but is going to go for the maximum mid-game spike with the Trinity Force, becoming more and more common. Until he has Blade the Ruin King, this map pressure into Wombo engage comp from SKT has very low Baron damage, so they're not actually able to threaten the Baron. Usually when you have a team comp like this, take all the early game advantages, take 3 turrets and some Drakes, push up vision, turn on the Baron. With this team, the Baron is very slow, so that's kind of a small issue for SKT. They can't really make creative plays around the Baron because if Bang's missing, then he's probably going to be on something like Baron. If he's showing, then it's going to take a good minute and a half to kill the damn Baron.
Yeah, they'll be looking for multiple picks. If they can get onto the Varus, that would be nice. And also taking out Lucian would be a nice 1-2 combo. Maybe then they'll go for a Baron, but we got to be careful about it as we return to a tank-on-tank matchup. Although I call Faker a tank, but he does finish up his Zhonya's now as his second item after the Rod of Ages.
An analysis on that one, when you're going for a Zhonya instead of a Leandris, it's I want a team fight really soon. You want a hard commit whenever you go for the Zhonya's early. It's one of my favorite things to talk about in the Twisted Fate meta was the earlier the Zhonya's, the more we would be seeing some Messiah-esque dives into the backline. So team fighting on the mind for SKT, but they have been halted. Took a lot longer to crash the mid lane turret after we saw Blossom go down. We see the big Krugs going the way of Bang, who's just being a jerk at every possible moment. SKT and Kongdoo Monster both in decent spots where this game is at. We're so close this game exploding one way or the other.
That we are. They're looking for another play here with Yujun heading up towards top, but there's a ward. Yujun earlier on did throw out his Sejuani ultimate, which I believe was aimed at the Braum, who just stood beside one of his teammates as the Sejuani ultimate sailed wide. So he has to be very selective about where he's going to throw that. The unfortunate thing for him is, who do you throw that out? Are you going to give that to the Ezreal? It's going to be really hard to hit him, and he's got a QSS. So you're going to be hitting one of the tanks either way. Not a very fun game as a Sejuani player.
I mean, even the early game, like, what exactly do you do as Lucian and Varus? Who are you trying to hit in this game? You're never going to get to Ezreal, and Black Cleaver is not enough yet. You're still going to need, probably going to be double Lord Dominic's regards to just actually do damage to anyone. Solk's going to go for a Wit's End here, largely for survivability. Does mean a little bit extra base damage to Sejuani and Orin, but not going to be the synergy with a mid laner, of course, in this particular game. So very, very hard to threaten the backline. And you can see Bang, now that Trinity Force is finished, he's starting to do some real damage.
Yeah. This was one of the questions we asked, who gets it, that Ezreal, and so far Bang is showing it. Why you shouldn't give him Ezreal ever. He's having a very fun game so far. They're going to get another turret here.
Oh, I mean, this is the God game for Bang. Bang's best champion this season has been Ezreal. He has 4 tanks. He's got a Braum rushing the Knight's Vow as fast as possible to make him tankier. There should be no threat onto him, and the armor items aren't going to come in early enough. It's going to be Warmogs from Sejuani. A Frozen Heart is a nice start for Roach, but definitely Bang is going to be empowered in the mid game to basically do whatever he wants, and Threat of Death with just being Ezreal with Flash Up and a QSS, basically 0.
Yeah. Bang has been looking a little bit better over time. I mean, everybody on SKT was having trouble during their slump. We are going to have an engage here on a Faker who isn't as tanky as you would believe, but he's got Bang right next to him, and there's that Zonia's. Here's the counter engage. Secret in a ton of trouble here. Will he go down before the Cosmic Radiance? Yes, he will, and they're not done yet. In comes Wolf with the big knock up into that back line. They're going for Edge. Nice little dash away, but he's got some goo stuck to him with Zach coming on in. That's going to be the kill. A second one going over to SKT. This is their moment to pick up some more objectives, and maybe the Baron.
It was all provided on a platter as well, Vados. That was the initiation from Kongdoo Monster. They did not know where Zach was. You can never make those initiation plays until you can account for which part of the map Zach is on. Zach turns it around. Bang's just walking up. He's going to be a frontliner here on the Ezreal. He's got nothing to worry about, and they're trying to clean up kills everywhere on the map.
Eugene gets spot right before his recall gets off. They kill the Ornn underneath the turret with no minion wave. SKT, they're running away with this one.
And again, the fact that Kongdoo Monster gave them the invitation, you don't need to give two invitations to Galio, Zach, Sion. They're turning on to the Baron. Bang is frontlining as he should, with as strong a comp as he has on SKT. The Baron will go down, and this is the worst case scenario for Kongdoo. They had finally gotten a bit of stability in the game, but they unfortunately throw far too much of a lead over the way of SKT. Now 3-item Ezreal's going to show up. No one's going to have enough armor, and SKT want to close it pre-35 minutes.
This is what we were talking about. What exactly do you do
Where's
with the
Zach,
Sejuani?
But where's Zach is the question you have to ask when you make a play onto a Galio with Zonias. They didn't ask the question. The Cosmic Radiance is late because the threat was only there when the Zach showed up and they realized, crap, it's being turned around. And then it's just a party. Bang can walk and free auto whoever he wants. Everyone else is unkillable on the side of SKT. That was started by Kongdoo Monster and finished with a plum, with a cherry on top, with a smile by SK Telecom T1.
Oh, exactly. It just looks like desperation at that point when you're going in on that one, but they wanted to make something happen. When you're behind, you're struggling for an answer. Unfortunately, that was not the answer they were looking for. So SKT in a fantastic spot. They pick up a second Cloud Drake, which is not even half bad when you consider the composition and all their engage.
Will we see Sion do anything on our screens, Valdez? That's the question. He's 0-0-1, done precisely nothing.
We saw him a couple of times in the top lane. That was about it.
He was roaring, as that's a lot of damage onto Edge. Oh!
Nice little flash. Bang beginning to show off a little bit here.
The Arctic Assault from Eugene just to tank the Mystic Shot that would have killed his mid laner there. Already emergencies on every side of Kongdoo Monster. The level leads here. It's 5 levels between Faker and both junglers after all the counter jungling earlier in the game. I should say 3 levels when his jungler's level 13. Level 11 for Eugene. They've had no control over the jungle predictably because of all the globals. SKT, full court press like we talk about, and no good decisions for Kongdoo. There's nothing they can do.
They're running around like chickens without heads. There's nowhere to go. Nowhere to hide, really, except in your base.
Roach is just trying to tell himself that it's a single-player game, that he's doing fine on the top side, but sadly, the 4v4 is on fire for Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the top laners haven't had any interaction with this game.
Look who's here!
They'll have an opportunity here, but Soul is getting bursted down. He does have the Cosmic Radiance for now. Look at the backline, though. Bang is going to be locked up here. He's got a lot of people on top of him. Unfortunately, the backline for Kongdoo was also pierced. We had the Varus with no escape potential getting taken out. That's going to be a second kill. Faker, Zonia's at the last moment. Looks like they are going to pick him up in the end of this one, but Tall, he wants to get some extra KDA for himself. He wants the kill. He wants to make Sion viable. It's looking pretty viable tonight, guys, as SKT pushing on in, pick up another kill. That'll be another inhibitor here.
Yeah, if Kongdoo Monster are diving the Ezreal, he's going to get away, and their carries are going to be very exposed, Val. There's nothing they could do, unfortunately. Needed the peel, didn't get it. SKT looking to break the base in 2 spots, and if they can finish the game right now, that'd be perfect for SKT.
We have our inhibitor timers up here, thanks to Spo TV. Of course, that one on the bottom, about 5 minutes away. They're not going to be able to pick up the second inhibitor as Tall is getting low. He desperately does not want another death on his hand.
He's holding away.
He's getting out of here. See you
Cowards!
later. No death for him. Just 3 assists. Finally beginning to have an impact on this one. He's making things a little bit more fun for us, Papa.
Sion is always the champion that brings fun to the Rift. All his animations look hilarious, so it's It's always fun to see him roaring minions around and holding up his hammer for comically long. But SKT, the only thing comical about this particular state of the game is just how damn tanky the front line is. We're going to watch the replay here. Consider what happens in this fight. Eventually, Secret and Yujun run up after the Ezreal. Unfortunately, that means that both their carries are kidnapped and is killed by tanks eventually, because we're early enough in the game where they don't have enough lifesteal or any sort of resists to be able to answer the tanks, and Faker does a lot of damage. So if you're not peeling for the Lucian and the Varus, unfortunately, they're going to do nothing. Ezreal's going to at least be able to kite and throw away some Mystic shots. So now we get to see that view of the backline. It was a disaster, sadly, for Kongdoo Monster, and in the mini screen, I should say, picture-in-picture, you see that SKT's pushing on the top side.
Wolf actually stealing the kill there away from him, but either way, we have another engage here. Faker going to be able to get the double knock-up into the kidnap. Faker may go down here, but a couple of tanks in the back line looking to get popped, as we do have Yujin going down. Here comes the Zac coming on in. Cosmic Radiance may be able to do a bit of damage to Blossom here, but actually he gets away. Look at Bang on the left side, totally left alone. Nobody can get near this Ezreal in this fight, so no escape as predicted. Gets taken out. 80 carry,
Bang once
over
more.
80 carry. He's looking for a couple more kills. Blossom looking to help out. Actually misses that one, but Seeker getting low. SKT thinking about a game 1 victory a little bit faster, perhaps, than they were expecting. A little bit of help down here. Pick up another assist for you, Bang. Looks like we're not going to be able to see that one. They're like, no, doesn't matter. Let's watch Bang dominate a little bit more on the Ezreal.
Supportal combat!
Oh boy, this is getting low. Wolf, oh, we don't get to see it. What the hell? Come on.
There's more fighting, Valdez.
More interesting than this fight. Bang is going to take out an inhibitor. Edge is trying to make this Lucian pick work, trying to convince all the LCK fans. I haven't been convinced so far. Although Sion has been very convincing, as well as Bang's Ezreal coming on in. The flash forward and another Mystic shot gets another kill for our boy Bang. And Roach is still not dead. Somehow, some way, Papa.
Yeah, this fight has been going on forever. Roach does live through all of it. He had mana, so he just basically, Bellows Breath didn't die. Soul, Bouncy Castle, goodbye. And this should be the end of the game for SKT.
See you later, everybody, on Kongdoo Monster. Give another kill over to SKT. Looks like Bang on the Ezreal should be the MVP of this one. That's going to be game number 1, a very dominant one for SKT.
SKT's draft really suits the team they've become, not the team that they were. With Untara and Blank, they had shown they could not pick up wins with drafts like this, with one true damage threat and a Galio mid lane. With Blossom in the lineup, mistakes and all, anything is possible for the lineup. Kongdoo Monster, they had a draft that could answer this team very well, but they made those crucial decision-making mistakes in the mid-game. Usually Ray's the shot caller for them in the mid-game. He's not being preferred due to his struggles in the jungle. Unfortunately here, they're engaging not knowing where Zac was, passing over kills, a Baron, and multiple other benefits to SK Telecom T1, and they ran away with the game. Comical stuff at the end, the supportal combat, Wolf almost soloing down with the help of some minions, the enemy top laner. But the only thing you guys need to know at home is that Kongdoo Monster still have plenty to work out, and SK Telecom T1, they're still a very intriguing team, but they continue their win streak here, looking to make it 3 match wins if they can win game 2.
Not surprising that you see Yujin packing up. We're going to give Raze another chance here, it's looking like. On the side of Kongdoo Monster, they do not want to go 0-10 in game score, but the way it's looking, getting out-drafted and outplayed here by SKT, definitely a comfortable one for SKT to go into. And would expect the 2-0 after that victory. We'll see how it does go. But guys, we are going to go to a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with game 2.